What is up, Nerf Nation? It's your boy Normatico, and I am back with another blaster review. Now, I know that when I did the review on the torrent, I said that I probably was not going to pick up the other Nerf Pro line blaster, only because of the fact that I'd heard such horrible things about it. And you know what? I'm a liar, because I did pick it up only because of the fact that when I saw 1-star ratings, I said, Normatico, you're a glutton for punishment. Yep, I am. Oh boy. This one might be painful. Let's take a look to see just how bad this thing really is. Now, I've not had a chance to open it yet. I just took the tape out. Let's see what we got. Well, I do like the fact that they don't have anything holding it together in there. That's it. Unboxed. Darts. Warning signs. Don't shoot yourself in the face. Don't eat this. Do not eat crayons. Don't lick paste. Don't lick the walls. Whatever warning that is, I'm not going to read all that nonsense. And then, of course, the angled Talon magazine, which does not fit in any of the worker magazine adapters. It is proprietary. Please forgive me, little ones at home. That's to you, Hasbro. Anyways, I digress. All right, so let's take a look at this blaster. Of course, it is very similar to a Raven, which I'm kind of digging. That means that the trigger is in the front and the mag goes back here like so. Wow. Okay, so that is an interesting mag. And it does not gravity drop. Disappointing, but it's snug in there at least. It is snug. Now let's take a look here. This, according to this is supposed to be extendable. You know, the least you could do is at least have this extend just a little bit before it pops right off. Oh boy. You can dual wield it if you want to spend $50 extra and buy another one, I guess. All right, well, it looks like we have a battery compartment down here. And of course, so let's take a look here. I should have read the box. Could have had all this information ready for you, but you know what? We're going on an adventure together. So I see one thing here that already I'm going to ding you, Hasbro, because, oh, wow. Eight batteries. 8 batteries. 1.5 volts for AA's. That is 1, 2, that's 3, 6. 9, 12 volts. Is this getting a LiPo, basically? A 3S LiPo motor being charged by AA's? I mean, okay. Oh boy. All right. Well, needless to say, $49.99, it's a pretty cheap flywheel for a pro-level blaster. Mind you, of course, I'm sure Dart Zone is going to release their Maxima anytime soon, which will be right around maybe $10 less than this. But for Hasbro, that's okay. We'll take it. We'll take it. It's still less than the Strife X. But this begs to question if it's can be turned into a LiPo battery, because I don't want to spend, what is it, $12 when my batteries die, you know, or $10, I guess, to buy a whole bunch of batteries. I could put rechargeables in here. I could put my IMRs, but we might do that. We might do that. Now, of course, you do have the one tactical rail up here, which, I mean, I guess you can kind of aim with this a little bit. It's, no, not really. Not really. Let me see here. That is straight. Oh, that's awkward to aim with. And That trigger's atrocious. What the heck is this? Wait, that's not even the trigger lock? It does have a trigger lock, and okay, that's for the rev. Okay, the trigger lock is for the rev trigger. Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's good to know. Again, this is why I should read the instructions sometimes, but okay. Ooh. That's not promising at all. You have your jam door here. That's interesting, of course, because when you have that jam door, you can see that it is partially blocked there. You're not going to be able to see too much of that dart. And can we get the flywheel view of the flywheels? Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Let's... Yep, that's what I thought. So one of the complaints that people had about this blaster was that you had some fishtailing going on from the darts. Now, that is a flywheel alignment issue. Anybody who knows how to modify these things knows that they can take apart a flywheel, or should separate the flywheels, remount them correctly, and put them straight on here, which we may end up having to do with this blaster because from what I can tell, let me get some more light in here. Yeah. Yep, that is misaligned flywheel in there. Glad I found that out now, instead of ranting and raving later on. Oh boy, this is not promising, Hasbro. If y'all have seen my videos before, you know that I try to find something good in every single blaster, and here's what I find good in this one. The color scheme's pretty. I guess. You have a lot of darts. You have twice as many darts as you need. There's that. Yay. But I digress. Let's load up these darts and let's talk about them, because I'll tell you, that's one thing that impressed me about the Torrent was that the darts were actually pretty decent. They did have a little bit of foam, not foam, but glue on them, and those that did flew erratically, but those that did not, that were in pristine condition, did pretty well, and I was okay with that. So I will tell you that Hasbro, when it came to their Pro darts, as long as they follow quality control, they're doing an okay job. Now, these darts are available to purchase separately for $12.99 for a pack of 75. That is not the greatest, but again, it's Hasbro. Oh my gosh, Hasbro. Yeah, that is what I'm talking about when it comes to quality control. That little filament right there, that is all glue. That is just right there waiting to cause problems. This is not okay with the Pro line. Not okay. Shame on you, Hasbro. Good God. You're lucky that oh man. You know, if anyone from Hasbro ever watches any of my videos, I am open to take a trip to the mothership, so to speak, and knock some sense into quality control. Just send me to your factories and give me a week. I will have you guys have your people actually doing their jobs properly. That is one of the things that I do in my in my daily grind, is whip people into shape with soft hands, but I get them to perform better. Yeah, this is just, oh boy, that's not a good sign. Oh, boy, 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 boy. Anyways, but we can look on the positive side, right, folks? Now, the Sender itself, it is $49.99, which, again, that is a decent price for a pro-level blaster. There are less expensive alternatives out there. See the before-mentioned Dart Zone Maxim, which will be launching soon. Some people have already got their hands on them. I am waiting for it to show up. I'm sorry, Adventure Force Maxim by Dart Zone. For it to show up at Walmart. Hopefully it'll show up soon at my local store, because my understanding it's only like $39.99. And I would like to get that one before the N Series Sprinter. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Now, it is a 15-round magazine that's here. Of course, you could probably squeeze in a lot more, but at that point in time, you're going to damage those darts. I would say that you could probably load 17 in here comfortably. Yeah. 17's right. But let's not squish the darts. I'm going to take out 3. Let's do 14. Go from there. And yeah, I got to get 8 batteries now. I'll be right back when I get some more batteries. All right, so I have my batteries, and we're going to do some testing here because, you know what, I'm psychotic, and you all love me for it. So we're going to see just how powerful, how much voltage we can put through this thing before we get close to frying it, shall we? So right now we have the 4 and 4 blend. That is 4 IMR batteries, and we're going to do 4 dummy batteries. See what this sounds like. Yeah, let's see. So with 4 of the IMRs, that is 3.7 each one. 4 times 3, that's 12, plus 2.1. So this is the equivalent of a 4S LiPo here. And that seems to actually sound like it can hold it. All right. Oh boy. Let's take a look here. This is going to be, what, 17.8? Okay. Mm-hmm. Please don't blow up. That's a long wind down time, but it took the juice, and I could hear it still, you know, winding high. So, yeah, all right. Maybe there's hope for you after all. Let's see, 3.7, 3.7, 3.7. That is 4. No, that is a 12 volt. No, sorry, that is 11.1 volts. That's a 3S. Okay, so basically this is the equivalent of a 6S LiPo in here, if my math is correct, if I'm mathing properly, because 11.1 plus 11.1, that is 22.2 volts. Yeah, that is the equivalent of a 6S LiPo. All right. Do I want to try to run this like this? Why the heck not? The worst that happens is I fry it out, and you know what? I have to put my soldering iron to good use and rewire this thing, right? Right. Okay, so let's go ahead and actually close this back up for now. And yeah. Hopefully it doesn't fry. Yep. Now, before we do this, though, I have to focus one thing on this blaster. Nerf Pro, seriously. You know what? Hasbro, don't be cheap anymore. Okay? Nerf Pro here, the least you could do is at least put it in white back here as well. That's going to cost you, what, an extra 10 cents? Not even. Do better. But I digress. Let's run this through the chronograph and see how we perform. I think we're going to be shocked with this. 150 FPS, I think we might be able to beat that. I mean, okay. You saw through the chronograph test. I did the standard Nerf Pro darts. And I also shot some Bamboo 2Xs through there. And there was a little bit of a performance increase with the Bamboo 2X. I could have tried the new Nitro darts, but I think I'll stick with the numbers from the 2X. We hit 190 at one point, and we were hitting 180 with the Pro darts. So obviously, that's not the performance you're going to get with standard AA batteries, but you can overcharge this sucker. You can overclock it, and it performs, and it ran for about a minute, so it didn't fry out. I can't guarantee that that will always happen, but it didn't fail. Now, what I wasn't able to gauge at the short distance that I was shooting down the little hallway, because really that's about 5 feet from the chronograph to the door, was whether or not the darts were shooting straight and how accurate this blaster is. We are going to run that accuracy test later on, but first we're going to have to test to see how far this thing can go. I'll be honest with you, we might hit the 190 feet range with this. Maybe with an angled shot, we might even get close to 200 feet. So yeah, unfortunately, I can't do that right this instant, only because of the fact that it is now late at night. But you're not going to be able to tell the difference, because up next, the distance test. All right, after a stunning performance using 22.2 volts, using the sender, we are back and actually going to test out the distance with this. I might run it like this, just overpowering this thing until the motors burn out, because I can always fix that. We are now going to shoot actually 4 shots. 4. I can count. We're going to do 2 of the Nitro shots and 2 of the Nerf Pro darts, angled and straight. And let's compare it to some darts, how they perform using the sender. Let's do a quick dart recovery. I'll be back with those numbers. Okay, so definitely a stunning performance from the Nerf sender here. The Pro darts. So we need to talk about these things. The Nerf Pro darts, they actually flew farther in the straight shot than the Nitro darts. Okay. I will tell you, though, that the Nitro darts were more, I guess more accurate. They flew straighter. Mind you, these darts are a little bit lighter than the Nitro darts, and we do have about a 7-mile-an-hour crosswind. So the darts got knocked to, I guess now your left, my right. It would have been my left when I was shooting. And they were off by about 15 feet from compared to where the Nitro darts were at. I know that the straight shot, we got 138 feet roughly with the Nitro dart, and we got 150 feet with the Nerf Pro dart. That's a straight shot. Yeah, okay. That's pretty impressive. Now, the angled shot, however, that is where there was a little bit of a concern there for me, only because of the fact that usually with the angled shot, you get a much higher number, and we did, but I think that the wind might have slowed it down a little bit. Maybe the angle that I shot it at was a little bit different. However, that being said, both the Pro Dart and the Nitro Dart got right around the same. They were both at almost 200 feet, 198 to 202 feet between the two of them. So not a bad actual performance from the Nerf sender with these darts. Up next, the accuracy test, which is what everyone's been complaining about this blaster. indoors with the Nerf Sender Pro, or Nerf Pro Sender, and we're going to be shooting 10 darts down the hallway at that little basket. It's going to be difficult to aim with this thing because, as you can see, it is not a straight angle, and this is going to be hidden from my line of sight, so I'm going to be having to just guess where I'm aiming at. So that's a big negatory here with the Nerf Pro series so far. 10 shots. Let's see how we do. So we got 10 shots. I'm going to have to say that about 6 of them actually hit the target basket. Once I got my aim zeroed in, they did fly straight. So I will tell you that the people that were complaining about the fishtailing, that is something that happened if your flywheels were misaligned. These are actually apparently aligned pretty well. All the same, I may open it up just because I want to see what this thing is packing inside and see if I can do something with these motors, maybe get a little bit more oomph out of them without having to run 22 volts through these. But all in all, the accuracy was pretty decent with this. It's not the best one that I've seen from a Pro Series, but it is not the worst, and that is putting it right around the level that we're used to seeing from Hasbro. But, again, it's not complete garbage like everyone was saying. Up next, we'll find final thoughts regarding the Nerf Pro Sender. Okay, so I am back with my final thoughts regarding the Nerf Pro Sender. You know what? I wanted to love this blaster. When I first heard about a Pro flywheel coming from Hasbro, I was super excited. You know, I'm excited to get this thing. I want to get it. And then the initial reviews came out, and they said how horrible it was. Now, I did not get necessarily the same experience that everyone else did, and no one else is going to get the same experience that I got, only because of the fact that everyone feels differently about blasters. I ran this thing with 22 volts in there, and it ran pretty well. It did not have an issue with overheating or anything like that. There was an issue where I lent it out to somebody, and the IMRs kind of like drained. It did drain my IMRs pretty quickly, so that's kind of a problem. But I digress. It's not necessarily, anyone's fault for that. It could just be that the IMRs are getting old. I've had those things for a couple of years now, and well, batteries die. So that being said, it was able to hold the 22 volts without a problem. You can rev it for more than 10 seconds, and it's not going to burn out or fry anything out. So if you want to run this thing, get some IMRs, slap it in there if you're not going to do a LiPo conversion, and you'll see that the performance does increase. It goes from being what I would call a semi-competitive level flywheeler to definitely a competitive level flywheeler. It can keep up with the big boys. Now, there are some issues with this blaster that I'm going to address, and these are the ones that are valid no matter who you are. So first things first, let's talk about the magazine. Hasbro, you designed a great looking magazine. It's beautiful, it's nice. The fact that it can fit inside of either blaster, the Sender, or the Torrent, that's cool. I like the fact that you're dealing with angled Talon magazines, because that way I can recycle all of my old angled Talon magazines and use them on your blasters as well. However, the problem that I'm running into here is that when you're in the middle of play, if you're out of magazine, putting that in, it is such a chore. It is such a tough little jam that you have to push in there, and you think it's in there, but it's not. Then you have to push it all the way in. So because of that, I'm going to have to take some points off of this. And ejecting the magazine, look, nobody has time to actually have to pull that out in the middle of a blaster battle. Let's try to do some gravity drops here. But that's a small thing. This right here, why bother at this point? You could have done so much more. Maybe extend this out just by a couple of inches. Let this be extendable, and that way you actually have something that's worth anything. The other problem that I have is that the way that this is designed, the ergonomics of this right here, there's not a single current attachment that is Hasbro designed that will fit this properly, at least not that I've seen, only because of this little curved lip here. Let's go ahead and actually get some attachments for this, because there's chicken winging, and then there's like, what is this? Like, this is not conducive to aiming. Speaking of aiming, Hasbro, I don't know what you have against iron sights. Is it something that we did? Is it something the community did? Is it that you're starting to rely on the 3D printed community to come up with their own stuff? because not everyone has access to a 3D printer and not everybody likes that aesthetic. We kind of like some of the goofy things that you used to do. I know it's a pro line, but start releasing something that we can aim with, because this right here, all you see is that little back there. You can't line that up with anything to center your shot. You can't tell where the barrel is based on that necessarily. And with a flywheel, you definitely want to be able to aim with something because they're not as accurate as springers. The same issue was similar with the Torrent. That being said, what I experienced with the Nerf Pro darts is completely different than what some of the other reviewers experienced. I did not necessarily get the fishtailing effect that I thought I was going to get in the very beginning of my review. I thought that the flywheel was misaligned. It turns out it was not. It shot pretty straight. The standard Nerf Pro darts shot just fine. The darts that did not shoot fine necessarily were some old beat-up Worker Gen 3s that I used. And again, they're just old darts, so I'm not going to expect the same performance out of them. So as long as you stick with fresh darts or newer darts, you should not have too much of a problem. And if you do, don't throw this blaster into the trash, only because of the fact that it is a simple fix. So simple. You can look up a tutorial online. Maybe I might do one later on, come back to my channel and, actually go ahead and click subscribe. That way you can get an update whenever I do this. I plan on opening this blaster up and doing some modifications to it to make it a much better blaster than what it is. Now, mind you, I'm not saying it's a great blaster. What I'm going to tell you is that it's not as horrible as everyone said it was. This thing got 1-star reviews, and a lot of them were properly earned, because some of these came out rather janky, but this one I'd give it a solid 4.5 stars. Here's why. Performance. You know what? I am yet to find another blaster where I can overvolt by double what it's supposed to take and have it still perform or not fry out. So good on you, Hasbro. Even the venerated Dart Zone blasters, if I try to run that much juice for them, they start to fry out. So it's, it's a small thing, but it's worth noting. The other thing is the trigger, as bad as it was, it's surprisingly responsive. Yes, you do have to push a little bit more force on your trigger finger, but it does shoot out the darts, and you can shoot out 6 or 7 darts in pretty rapid succession if you need to, as long as you have the discipline with your finger to pull that trigger harder. So practice your fingering, and there you go. Wow, I said that. Practice your fingering. This is now rated M for mature, or I for immature. Anyways, so the other thing it has going for it, this entire design, look, you actually can attach a worker stock on here, and it is pretty decent to use. I did not get to use this in competitive play. However, kudos to a buddy of mine, part of Conk, Sam I Am. You got to use this one as a loaner, and you said that you liked it. You were impressed by it. Speaking of which, if you are part of the Nerf community out there, beware, watch out for this kid named Sam, because you know what? This little guy, he is an amazing Nerfer, and I hope to see him out in the battlefield and, doing some competitive team play. Any team would be lucky to have him. So kudos to you, Sam. Now, the battery issue. 8 batteries. Obviously, if you're running IMRs, that's fine. If you're running rechargeables, that's okay. But 8 batteries is a lot. I'm not going to say it's unforgivable, because you know what? I like to tinker and it gives me something to do. I kind of don't want the perfect blaster. That sounds weird. But this tray, if I can get this an extended tray, that'd be awesome. That way I can actually just not run just one LiPo setup. I could probably do a dual LiPo setup so I can keep that overclocked power and go from there. I do like the fact that you have made it so that it is easily modifiable. That is one thing that is a big change from Elite 2.0. And even towards the end of Elite 2.0, you can modify them, but you can open these blasters up. It's not too hard, and they dovetail open, and you're good to go. So, and it seems like the internals in here are pretty straightforward. It's a pretty straightforward flywheel. From what I can tell, the trigger is based on something like a Raven. So that's okay. The Raven didn't have the best trigger mechanism, but whatever. That's something that if you're used to older blasters, you can deal with. You can work around. So all in all, again, out of a 5-star rating, I'm going to give this one a 4.5 star. And The problem that I have with this is not that it's bad, is that it's disappointing. Now, here's why it's disappointing. Hasbro, and I'm talking to you directly now. Time to get my principal voice. Hasbro, you were so late in the game when it comes to pro level blasters. You had so much time to study and do your research. When you premiered your blasters, you should have been the #1 blaster out there. You had plenty of time to get this ready. You had years to get this ready. The community was talking to you and telling you what we wanted. And you delivered this. It's disappointing is what it is. Welcome to the pro level game. Step it up. All right. So that being said, it is disappointing. It's because of the fact that, again, we waited so long for a pro level blaster. We got the Strife X, and it was we had the sticker shock of it. They announced the price of this one, and we were like, ooh, this will be great. But then you have companies like Dart Zone releasing under the Adventure Force line the Maxim Pro that gets similar performance for $10 less. And it is a much better designed blaster. And the difference, as somebody pointed out, I believe it was Ghost, that's part of Conk, pointed out, is that Hasbro is kind of like, oh no, don't look at our inside stuff. Whereas Dart Zone's like, hey, we want you to do this, and this is what you can do to make it really cool. So take that attitude. Be more like Dart Zone. Gosh, I feel like horrible for saying that. But you really do need to do that. If you want to remain in the game, especially when you're hitting the pro blasters, you need to let us be able to do things with it and make it so that we can do things with it, because who's buying this? It's not the 8-year-olds. It is not the 10-year-olds. It is the teenagers who know how to open things up, who know how to modify things, and the modders who know what they're doing because they want to take a cool-looking blaster out into competitive play and show the world what they can do. Speaking of who this blaster is for, you already know. I just said it. This is not for an 8-year-old. Size-wise, yeah, it might be fine, but no, not at all. Not when you're getting those numbers. They will enjoy the N series, though. Stick with that one. Now, for those of you who are interested in the Nerf Pro, I honestly do recommend checking them out. I will tell you that pick up some Worker Angle Talon magazines. They work much better than the Nerf ones, only in the sense that it's much easier to slide in and out of the blaster. I want to thank you all for watching Secondhand Blasters. I do want to remind you all, once again, that once I hit 400 subscribers, I'm going to be doing another giveaway. I might be doing something special this time because I acquired that little 3D printer that's working back there and have done a lot of cool little designs. So I might make a modified blaster for you all. Who knows? We'll see. All the way you know is if you like and subscribe, and when the time comes, enter your name into the drawing, and we'll see who wins a free blaster on behalf of yours truly. Until next time, keep on blasting.